All right, so this evening my podcast is been waiting for a fishing or hunting one for a while now, and I got Rob Melendez here to talk about his experience fishing, and I've had lots of experience fishing, so I'm sure we'll have a good enlightening conversation
have some good stories.
Yeah, have some good stories, and there's things that if you're a fisherman, like I'm never trying to get other people to fish. Like I got my spots, and I don't need you there.
Yes,
but there's a certain. I mean, I grew up with it. You grew up with it, but there's a certain camaraderie that goes on. You get a guy in a boat for 8 hours, but you talk about just about everything under the sun, and then
absolutely.
The other thing is if you got kids, it's a terrific time. If you can be decent about it. There's definitely parents out there that, they're out there to fish for themselves, and this kid's in the way, aggravating the hell out of them. But I saw your picture stuff, on social media, and, looked like you were doing some tournament stuff and stuff like that. And I want to talk about the differences between tournament fishing and, just regular leisure fishing.
Some fun fishing.
Fishing. And I mean, my fishing, I was always serious about it no matter what. But there's a difference that like the tournament fishing for bass and stuff like that, those guys are nuts. You're like running around that boat because you're on the clock.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you got so long in that boat. You got so long to catch.
Right.
Most tournaments, you got 5 fish you're trying to bring to the scales, and you've got about 8 hours.
Right.
8 hours, between 8 and 9 hours to get the 5 biggest ones you can find in the boat, and you're trying to maximize your time.
Yeah, right.
Every second of the day.
Now, when I'm fishing just normal, like if I was in the boat, I'm trying to maximize the time my line's in the water because can't catch anything with the line out of the water.
Right.
So whenever I go fishing with a guy who's like constantly sitting there changing baits, I'm like, there's going to be a reason I'm going to outfish you today, and this is going to be part of it. So you got to be fishing, and and I'm not taking it away from anyone because if you're just out there to have a good time, that's great. I don't know. I saw your pictures, and it was mostly like smallmouth and largemouth, stuff like that. That's the main thing you fish for?
Yes.
Not any muskies and stuff like that ever?
No, I have just a couple trips we've taken to go after some muskie in that.
Sure.
But the one muskie I've caught, I was actually bass fishing, and I caught a tiger muskie.
There you go. Well, the biggest bass I caught muskie fishing. So it hit like a 9-inch huge muskie bait right at the boat side, and I was like, what the? And I mean, I'm fishing with 90-pound tests, so I picked it right up out of the water, and I'm like, look at this, is a gorgeous bass. Like 8-pound, nice, really nice fish. And I took it. It was like March. I think I had 6 inches of snow on the boat, and there was it was Lake Otter right by Springfield, Illinois.
Oh yeah.
And there's a bait shop / deli / I don't know what else right across the street. So I took it over there real quick because the pier's right there just to weigh it. They weighed it out at like 8.2 pounds, and I'm like, I don't know what I should do with this. I don't really bass fish anymore, but it's a gorgeous fish, and so I mean I mounted that one. But as far as like muskies go, it's there's a difference between the bass, like smallies and largemouth. They breed in Illinois here.
Oh yeah.
Muskies don't. Muskies can't, and tigers are hybrids, so they can't. Anyway.
Yeah, they can't. Yes.
So just explain that for people who don't know. Tiger muskie is like a mule. He's like when they take a donkey and a horse and they breed it together, they get a mule, and that's an animal that is just sterile. It doesn't. It doesn't even go through the motions of spawning.
Yes.
But a straight muskie, like a regular just muskie, not a hybrid, it actually goes through the process of the breeding, but nothing survives.
And nothing, yeah.
Because they don't have post-parental care where the bass sit on the beds and stuff.
Yep.
So, but let's back up a little bit. When did you like fishing? How did it come about? Who got you hooked on it?
Used to go up to Wisconsin. My aunt and uncle
Where at?
had up by Minocqua.
Minocqua, yeah, me too.
Yep. they had a place up there, and we'd take vacations, family vacations
Sure,
up there,
sure.
and Grandpa would go up there. We'd get
What-
out on the boat with Grandpa.
what lake?
Oh man,
So I mean,
wish I
on the
could
big chain there, so like the Lake Minocqua, Coagasaga, and Tomahawk are all like in the
I believe it was Tomahawk.
Tomahawk,
I
okay.
believe it was Tomahawk.
okay, right in the heart of Minocqua is that Bosaki's. It's like a big bar and everything else.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
So we always stayed on Coagasaga or whatever it is, straight across from that bar. Like there's another lake that's like west. It's connected to all of them, but in some like old white cabins, just nothing fancy. You know what I mean? But my entire Geigner family, I mean, we had family trips where we rented out like 6 cabins and the whole family was up there.
Oh,
for that
nice,
stuff.
nice.
And then my grandparents retired on the Chippewa flowage, so out by Hayward,
okay.
Wisconsin. So I used to spend summers there. And I'll tell you what, I did not care that I was the entire summer, like being 15 years old and being on a lake up there.
Oh yeah.
Friends would be like,
Yeah.
"Dude, you're missing the host." I'm like, "No, I'm not. You're
No,
missing."
no, you're the one missing out.
Right. So okay, so yeah, you used to take some trips up there. Was that the only fishing you used to do then, just up to the Minocqua area?
Just small stuff around neighborhoods and that. We used to go out to Hickory Creek by the house in
Yeah.
in
Good
Frankfurt
smallmouth bite
there.
in
And,
Hickory
oh
Creek.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And in fact, we still take trips there.
Right.
We'll go out to New Lenox and
Sure.
and do a little fishing out there.
By Pilcher
get
Park,
into
all
some-
that. There's some great
Yep.
smallmouth. I mean,
some great smallmouth fishing
you would be
out there.
surprised at the size of this. Not you, but I mean, people would be surprised as to the size of the smallies that are in a foot and a
Little
half of
creek.
water.
Yeah, oh,
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
Yeah,
I used to
absolutely.
used to wade Rock Creek over here, so I would put
Yep.
in or step in right by the Kankakee River, and then walk up the creek for a couple miles. Terrific smallies. A lot of like bluegill, warmouth, and then rock bass. Real nice rock bass too.
Yes, yeah, that's
So-
Hickory Creek. They got some. I've gotten some nice rock bass out of the creek there, man. It's fun.
I gotta
It's
find
fun.
I don't think it's legal, but I gotta find some sort of way I can get some rock bass because the lake I live on, I guess it used to have rock bass. We're so close to Kankakee, people would fish, bring them back,
And
put them in there. But like rock bass they're an aggressive little
They are
fish, so fun to catch.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
they're feisty.
what would you say your favorite species is? What's the best one to fish for?
My
you?
favorite species would absolutely be smallmouth. I fished around Illinois. I fished the FLW division a lot. I fished that and like the Bass Nation stuff, but I fished the Illini division for a couple of years.
No, what is that? What are you talking about?
Illini, they fish just around Illinois. They'll fish like Ren Lake, Lake Shelbyville,
Yeah, okay.
Golconda on the
Sure,
Ohio
sure.
River. And then I just wanted something different, so I went and fished the Great Lakes Division, which is up in Wisconsin. You fish La Crosse, Wisconsin a few times a
Right.
year. And
Now, the Great Lakes, do you fish like Michigan? And,
no, they call it the Great Lakes Division, but
'cause up in that area.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes, you just don't fish on the Great Lakes.
no, because I mean, some of the fishing stuff that's the Lake Michigan in the last like 20 years has changed immensely. We used to perch fish up there real heavy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And the perch fish bite, I guess, has turned down where the smallmouth has turned way up.
Smallmouth, even downtown. You get around the river, around Navy Pier and all that, and around the different marinas, and the smallmouth fishing is incredible.
Right, and
on Lake Michigan.
they say that's attributed to the zebra mussel
Yes.
that's now in there.
Yep.
Which, if people don't know, like a clam or a mussel each one is like a little tiny filter. Like
Yep.
it sucks in, and then like it's not something that hunts. It just sucks in the water, and it eats like zooplankton and single-celled algae and
Yep.
stuff like that. So like it keeps pumping out clean water. The zebra mussel, I know, they're supposed to be an invasive species. They were in the lake here, but when they put the algicide in there and killed stuff, they killed off all the. It was copper.
Oh, okay.
Copper
Okay.
based. It killed them all, which I wish it didn't. They're a nuisance as far as like they're sharp to step
yeah.
on and stuff.
Yep.
But water clarity and everything else, real
yes.
nice.
Yes.
So yeah, Smallies is, I would say small. I used to hit LaSalle Lake,
yep.
the cooling plant, and just bang Rapalas off the rocks. And I mean, there were times where I like smallies because pound for pound, the fight.
The fight is unbelievable.
If you had a 2-pound smallie and a 2-pound largemouth, there's no contest.
No.
It's almost like look at this largemouth and go, "What are you so lazy for?"
Yep. It's almost like double. You catch a 2-pound smallmouth and it's like catching a 4-pound largemouth.
It is.
The fight is just
Right.
It's a rush.
I'm waiting to run into the guy who tells me that that's not true, because I mean, I almost feel like the smallies are angry. Like when you, and it's like you wound up a toy and that thing just So yeah, they're tough fish and super aggressive. I get the fish here from a hatchery, and I had 3 smallmouth in there. 2 of them were probably like 6 to 8 inches, and one was only like 4 inches. And the 8-inch one, he was in there for 3 weeks. He had to leave because he was killing the muskies, trying to take fins off and stuff like that. He was just insane. I would put 20 big, there's a couple roaches up in the corner there.
Mm-hmm.
I'd put 20 fish like that size, like a 3-inch, for people who are listening to the podcast can't see. It's like a 3-inch silver fish, soft finned, in there, and he would the biggest one would try and eat like 15 of them.
Yes.
He'd have 2 hanging out of his mouth trying to get another one. It was insane. They're so aggressive.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I can't even believe it.
And that's like, we would catch some smallmouth up around La Crosse and that on the river, but I wanted a challenge, so I went and fished the Michigan division last year. I started last year.
Okay.
And that you fished Lake St. Clair
up
by Detroit.
I've been dying to get to Lake St. Clair, not for smallies, but, I think I would do some smallies, but muskie fishing.
The muskie fishing up there, in fact, a guy that I know in practice for the FLW tour last year caught, I couldn't tell you the size of it, I've got the picture on my phone somewhere, just a giant muskie on a drop shot, on 6-pound test line.
Sure.
He could barely hold the thing up. It was quite incredible.
Right.
But I went up there because that's what I want to target. I want to target smallmouth. Like you said, the fight on them, there's nothing like it.
Well, the fight on them, and I would go to Lake LaSalle, and once I had it dialed in, I was just hitting all of the riprap, whatever was wind blowing, I was hitting that, and I would catch 13, 16 smallies in an afternoon up there, and wonderful. Some of them were 1 pounder, or under.
Yeah.
But you get every once in a while you get a 3.5. I never saw too much bigger than that in Illinois. Fished Canada and caught some footballs where they were 5-6 pounders.
Yep.
Crazy. And that's we were Lindy rigging for those. So
okay.
Egg sinker and
but
the way that I've had it where a smallie T-boned the Rapala, so it's like a 4 or 5 inch little black and white Rapala I'm banging off the rocks. He T-bones it, and another smallmouth thinks he's trying to get away from him with it. He's chasing the fish that I'm reeling in with the lure in his mouth.
Yes.
Trying to get it from him. I'm like, I'm going to get a double because, right. So, I mean, so crazy aggressive. So that's, and if you're fishing, that's the opposite. These guys here, these tiger muskies, tiger muskies a little more than regular muskies. The fight is fierce and it's angry and everything else, but aggressive wise, you have to be a super finesse guy to sometimes pull it off.
Yes.
Probably caught 40% of the fish that I caught in a figure 8 right at the boat. I mean, they're not intelligent at all.
Yeah.
Because I'm right there, but. They're not bite everything. Where smallies, boy, if you even land that thing right by them, just a reflex.
You get close. Yes,
right.
And like you said, you get one hooked, and there's 5 behind him ready to go after that bait. If he loses that bait, they're there.
Right.
It's not uncommon on a crankbait or something up there to catch a double.
Right.
On a crank, because there are so many. My buddy David with Duo Realis, he had a video that he put out a couple months ago. They were spy baiting with a little Realis. It's a little double-bladed, like a stick bait.
Okay, sure.
And it's just small, super finesse. And he caught one smallie on it, and they got it on video when they're letting it sit right outside the boat and swim around, he had about 12 other smallmouth around him just waiting for him to drop, trying to get the bait out of his mouth, basically.
Right.
They are that aggressive.
Right,
and
right.
Yeah,
so, I mean, wonderful. And largemouth are aggressive, and largemouth are, like evolution-wise, they've evolved to eat bluegills. The size of their mouth is to suck down a whole big bluegill. So if you have a lake that is loaded with bluegills, you actually need largemouth in there because other things don't want them. Those muskies, like they get to be 50 inches long as there's enough, feed forage in the lake. But they would rather eat carp, bullheads, anything that's like those roaches that are soft finned and stuff like that. They're a little finicky with stuff where largemouths, they'll help control that.
Population. Yes.
And if people don't understand, that's what a like a spinner bait. So like that, the skirt on the bottom, the arm with the blades on top. That's supposed to replicate. And I didn't know this for the longest time. That's a bluegill.
Yes.
Because it's that shape. The shiny blade on top is the sun reflecting off the top of the fish.
Yes.
And I was like, because I remember I guess I've known it for a while, but I remember being a kid and looking at that bait and thinking, the hell is this?
What do they find? What do they find enticing about this?
right, exactly. But there's a lot of really good opportunities in Illinois as far as the bass fisherman goes. There's tons of lakes that. There's tons of lakes that got bass in them, but not as many that have. The smallmouth are a little more fragile too, as far as clean water.
Right.
Stuff like that. You can't just have a retention pond usually get small.
No. Like you said, there's been a couple strip pits like out in Morris that I've fished that have some smallmouth in them.
Right.
And they're usually places will stock them with like rainbow trout and everything for them to eat. But the regular ponds, you're really not going to find many smallmouth around.
No, right. So it has to be something spring fed or some sort of flowage. I'm not sure what I know Illinois enacted I think it's June 5th or 15th or something now. Like you're not supposed to fish for smallies until a certain time of the year now.
Yeah,
because of the breeding thing or something like that. There's spawning time.
The spawning, yes,
right.
Yes, and that's usually like up in Michigan. They like our tournaments for the Michigan division don't start till the middle of June,
right?
Just to allow them to spawn,
sure.
and grow the population.
Wisconsin does the same with the muskies. They fish for opening day, sort of thing. Where I don't know if there's for largemouth. Is there an opening day for those, or you just fish for them whenever you want?
No, you just fish them for whenever you want.
They're so abundant. The lake I'm on right here, like you can go off the brand new deck that we just built, and there's 4 or 5 like decent ones. There was a pair that were there yesterday. I want to say the male looked like he was about 14, 15 inches long, and the female looked like she was over 20 inches long.
Oh, wow.
Big,
wow.
Yeah. And she's back every spring, has a big, huge brood of, there's over 1,000 little tiny bass, So, like, they're prolific everywhere because they're dirty green fish. But so for me, like my story with the muskies is I bass fished forever. I fished for whatever I could, and growing up, my dad fished, my grandfather fished, but neither of them were very good at it. And I'm not trying to insult them in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
But they just weren't. They were the guys that were like, well, that looks good over there. Let's try over there, sort of thing. And then they just went over there and did whatever. And then they bought a lot of lures that I would never throw today. Looking at what they bought, but and then they would fish with live bait and stuff, which for me that's taboo. I don't touch that.
Yes.
And the reason that is because it's a sport where I'm trying to trick that animal into biting something. If I just took a cheeseburger, put it on the counter for you and said, "Oh, hey, Rob, have a bite," and there were hooks in it, you'd be pissed off. That's not fair. But if I put a plastic one there and I made the plastic one look so good that you bit into it, I'd get a good giggle out of it. But I, took it upon myself to do some reading on some of the subjects. I don't know if maybe because I don't think I ever read like a Field and Stream, and that'd be the magazine that was out when my dad was a kid.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
yep.
But like in Fisherman and all that kind of stuff, they have tactical stuff in there as far as like things you're going to do to catch fish.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then some of it's trial and error and stuff, and then technology's come along so incredible now too. I mean, like you've got underwater imaging.
Oh, it's like watching them on a TV now.
Yep,
They got like that. I forgot who has it. The Panoptics. It's like you said. It's like having an underwater camera. You can actually see the fish swimming around on your electronics.
For ice fishing, my boys have a straight up camera. That they drop down there.
You drop. Yep.
And I mean, it's neat to look around and everything else. So that's stuff that obviously the guys way back when didn't have anything like that. But I was always super serious about my fishing, and I was like, I don't want it ever to come off like snobby or shitty, but like there's guys who fish, and then there's guys that I consider fishermen. So like, you know, if there's a guy that fishes, like I'm not gonna sit down and pick his brain because he's just, it's all about his spot or like something like that. Like, and then the other thing, like with a fisherman for me is a guy who finds a way. So like, fish eat every day. You just need to know how to work a different system. You know what I mean? Go troll. Do whatever you got to do to figure this out.
And how to adapt to them and what they want that day. Like you said, it changes daily.
Watercolor, all that kind of stuff. So like, educate me as far as bass goes. So, like muskies and northern pike. Northern pike is like the sort of a mentally challenged cousin of a muskie. And a northern pike, the reason I say that is just because that they are a far more aggressive fish.
Yes.
But the muskie northern thing is backwards from the smallie largemouth thing. So northern is a great fight. It's a 36-inch fish. It's a nice sized fish, and it's definitely going to challenge you. And you better be on your game to get them. They got really. If you look at a northern or a muskie's tooth under a microscope from above, it's shaped like a diamond and it's serrated down the sides.
Yes.
So monofilament line, if it just hits his teeth, it's gone like butter.
I've lost many spinner baits and crankbaits
to northern or muskie.
Yes.
So, northern are fun, but they're not quite as challenging. But if you had a 15-pound northern pike and a 15-pound muskie, it would be no contest.
Completely
different. And the different thing about a muskie and the northern and the smallie and the largemouth get bigger than smallmouth do.
Yes.
Muskies get bigger than northern.
Yeah.
So we've had 46-inch muskies on that it is a Chinese fire drill. It's insane what's happening right here. I've had a fish roll up like 30 yards of line on his body doing the wash machine thing right next to the boat. I mean, just ludicrous. But I know what to do if I hit a lake up in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Canada, and the water's that tea-colored, like a stained water. Like I'm looking for a certain color bait and a certain action that I'm looking for. I'm looking for something a little more obnoxious so that I can get through that stain. If I got something that's a gin bottle, then I'm looking for something more realistic and more finesse.
Natural. Yes, more natural looking.
So bass-wise, what...
It's basically the same. Yeah, okay. I mean you're basically using just smaller baits, but clearer water. You're going to use a more natural pattern to it. A little bit, like you said, a little more finesse style bait, and you get into that dirty water, and you're going with like the chartreuse.
Fishing's easier in dirty water because they can't quite see as well either.
Yes, and when you do that, you're putting in the bright colors, and you're grabbing baits with rattles like clear water. You get the non-rattling, the silent ones. Because you don't want them to see it coming.
Right.
You want to surprise them so they react to it. Dirty water, you're trying to attract them any way you can. So with the rattles, with the bright colors, and you want them to hear it coming so when it gets by them, they can
Now, I would say, and you tell me what you think, like bass-wise, the biggest advantage or the easiest fishing you'll ever do is directly correlated to the amount of fishing pressure on that lake. If you can find a lake that's a private pond that no one's ever there, oh, it's gangbusters.
Oh,
it's
yes.
just so easy.
Yeah, yes. You get them where they haven't seen a lot of lures, haven't seen anything different.
Yep.
They're used to just their regular bluegill meal that they're going to have,
Yep.
and when they see something different,
right.
you're
They come
kind of
around
making them angry, and
Yeah.
and look out, here they come.
Yeah, and then the other thing is that, as a fisherman, you've got a certain responsibility, when you're out there. I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing that your bass wise, you're catch and release,
Yes.
which is great. And like I said, bass breed. So like if you accidentally gill hooked or something with a bass, which largemouth, you're generally always getting in the mouth.
Yeah.
They're not. They're. I want to say that I heard that a bass, even with like a wacky worm or something like that, they're always taking it in and trying to like roll it into a ball before they send it down or something.
Yeah, when they're going, they're not actually biting. They're flaring their gills to get that water flushed through there, and it's just sucking it into their mouth. And that's when they chomp down on it. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to roll it, get it disoriented, and then so they can.
So you're usually not like, I mean, if you're the guy out there, trying to drown a minnow, or a worm, and the bluegill gets it. That thing, a lot of times for little kids, it's down his throat, and then you're killing them.
Yep.
And I mean, people feel bad about that, which you should have a little twinge anytime you kill anything because you just took a life. But bass and bluegills, they're going to reproduce. The mortality rate is there's a ton of fish. Where muskies, every single muskie in Illinois is a stocked fish. There's nowhere in Illinois where those things breed.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, naturally, well, I shouldn't say that. That's slightly incorrect. Any lake in Illinois, they're a stocked fish. The Kankakee River, I believe, has a population of muskies that got in there accidentally, and because it's a river,
made their way.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Then they can spawn. I know the Green River down in Kentucky has somehow accidentally, like, they got stocked in there or something on an accident, and because it's a river, they can spawn. So a bass, just trying to, because I mean I know but explaining it to other people, in the spring you can go fish the beds, right? You can
you sight fish for them, yes.
So you'll see like 2 feet of water, that bass will be sitting on the bed, and you'll throw something over there obnoxious, and what it really wants to do, usually when she's right in the middle of the spawn, they want to just pick it up and almost drop it somewhere else.
Yeah, they're trying to shoot it away. Just right.
But when they pick it up and it's got a hook in it, then you set the hook and it's caught.
Yeah.
So that fish, when it spawns, the male and the female come up, they do their little dance, she lays the eggs, he fertilizes the eggs right there, and then, I don't know if they take turns, but I know that at least the female stays on the nest, fanning it and everything else.
She does, and then usually after the spawn, the females, that it tires them out. They get tired out. So what they'll do is the females will back out into a little bit deeper water. The males will come up and guard the nest.
Okay.
And then the females will start feeding.
Yeah.
Getting ready for the summer coming up, so they can go deep and basically kind of like hibernate over the summer. Get down into that cooler water.
Yeah, what do they call it? Estivate or something like that? Get cooler because it's too hot. But so they have what's called post-parental care, where the two animals take care of the nest. And else. Muskies, they go through the exact same ritual. They do the dance. The female drops the eggs. The male fertilizes them. But then both of them just leave. They just back out to eat and do whatever they do. And in Illinois, we have silty water. It almost seems crazy when you got a 30-pound muskie that probably lays 30,000 eggs, and not one single egg makes it. Not one.
Yep.
People don't believe that sometimes, but I'm like, listen, it takes a certain period of time for those eggs to gestate, and it's within 24 hours, they're all dead. They need oxygen, which they absorb on the membrane outside of the egg. And when they can't, it's over. So there are lakes, Lake Kincaid in the 60s and 70s was stocked with northern pike. So like loaded with northern pike. And northern pike are prolific breeders up in sandy, flowages up in Wisconsin, Minnesota. You can go up there sometimes and catch, a couple dozen of them, no problem. But down here, they do their thing, and then they go back out just like a muskie does. And after they stop stocking them, They were gone.
And yes,
just finished.
They disappeared.
Just gone.
Yep.
So now there's muskies in Lake Kincaid. And I mean, I'm such a muskie fanatic that's my daughter's middle name is Kincaid after that lake down there.
Nice.
Yeah, I couldn't. I mean, I got a 49-inch fish out of that lake, and it is one of the prettiest lakes in Illinois. I mean, I thought Kincaid was a nice middle name for a girl anyway. So,
there you go. Yep.
That's what we did. It had some meaning to it. But so as fishermen, we need to be real careful about what you do to the fish. I would say a big no-no as far as muskies go is people drop them on the bottom of the boat. And
yes.
This is a fish that is like neutrally buoyant, living in water all the time. It doesn't really touch much of anything. And now you're wiping off the slime coat on it. You're destroying the lens on his eye and everything else. Mm-hmm. And something, that stuff will regenerate and be all right. But for a week or two, he's blind on one side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, people got to be more careful with what they do, because if you're going to your lake that you normally fish or your pond that you normally fish and you're not getting bites, it's on the people that are there. Because if there were no people there for 3 years, it'd be insane fishery again.
Yeah, fish management is definitely key.
Yeah,
key.
Sure,
I mean, there's ways you can overfish a lake, and there's actually ways you can underfish a lake.
Right.
If you get too much of a population of bass, I mean, the bass are reproducing. If you get too big of a population, it can. If you're looking for the larger bass, you're better off harvesting some of them smaller ones to let them actually get bigger. So there's more for them to eat.
Because too many bass. There's too much competition for forage, and then they're stunted. They don't grow.
Yes.
And that's one of the old aquarium myths. Like those muskies that are in that tank right there, they get fed a pretty good diet of minnows that come into the tank. Mm-hmm. It's a 340-gallon tank, and for a fish that's their size, it's not huge. People think that because of the enclosure that they're in, that's the size that they're going to get. That's not true. It's the amount of forage that they can obtain.
Yes.
So if I constantly, every day, fed those muskies 3 big roaches, they would just keep growing. I'd have the Bass Pro up in Gurnee or something, they've got a 44-inch muskie in the tank there, and it's because it's eating carp and drums and stuff like that. So
it's getting fed what it needs to make
so
to get that size.
A lake needs. Overall, it needs forage. It needs as much forage as possible.
Yep.
So, largemouth bass are easy because they'll eat a bluegill. Smallies, they're more designed for crayfish and
crayfish, the gobies that are in the waters now, and
Now explain what's up with the gobies. What's that?
The gobies, it's a little bottom feeder. They came over I think they came over from Japan on cargo ships. And they're eating they're down there now eating the plankton and getting it's trying to think how to explain it. It's just like this little ball head fish. It's got a large head, a little slim body.
They got them for the tanks. I've seen them a bunch
of times.
Okay. Yeah. But I know what they are. I just want to put it out there for other people so they understand that.
They're bottom feeders, and it's a new forage for the fish, for the smallmouth, and especially when we go to St. Clair, that's kind of what you're trying to mimic.
Is the gobies.
Is the gobies? Yeah.
It's like a little fish that looks like he's almost skipping on the bottom and stuff like that all the time. I think they've got saltwater ones too for saltwater tanks, gobies. But
okay.
But So that's the other thing. It's guys that are fishermen. They tend to have that's part of the reason for the podcast is I'm always amazed by the intelligence of somebody when they're really interested in something. You get a guy who didn't get really great grades or anything like that, but if he's super interested in something, he's gonna be really smart on that topic.
Right.
And I mean, I don't have a fishery biology degree. I don't know if you do.
Nope.
But paying attention to all that stuff, you start to learn all these things about the biology, what's going on there. I mean, when you find a body of water and, the lake here, somebody put a herbicide in there and it wiped out all the crayfish. It was a copper-based herbicide, so it killed all the crustaceans away, killed all the snails, killed. I don't know if it like we've got a couple of like a mayfly hatch and stuff like here. That's wonderful. Like people get upset about bugs, but if you're a fisherman, I'm excited about that.
Yes,
because that's
a
forage
right
base
Yep.
for the fish. So and then understanding how things breed is another one. So like I can look at a map, like a topographical map of a lake, and be on the lake for a day, and I can tell you what should be abundant here and what wouldn't be. If I'm on a lake, the lake just to the north of me here is 32 acres, and they do a lot of boating there. And they have really gotten like crazy about killing the weeds in the lake, which is a terrible thing to do.
Yes. Not good at all.
No, it aesthetically looks good if you're a guy that's on a jet ski.
Right.
But fish-wise, it's a really bad thing to do.
That's the last thing you want to see.
Well, you create all these other situations that are bad. So there's a balance of CO2 and oxygen in the water. The more fish that are in the water, the more CO2 is released from the fish. So if there's an abundance of CO2, the plant life wants to come back strong because there's so much CO2. They take in CO2 and put out oxygen.
Yep.
So then these people up north of me here, they're fighting the algae battle constantly because they've got fish in there and no weeds.
Right.
So if you put an abundance of healthy cabbage or milfoil or something like that in there, that produces oxygen and inhibits algae from growing.
Yes.
So and people don't understand that. They're like, oh, weeds are weeds. And I'm like, no,
that's weeds. Get them out. Yes.
Exactly. I've got a couple of questions off social media that I'm asking a little bit here.
Okay.
I don't want to forget, but I want to make sure my phone is silenced also. But so like if you're going to be a successful fisherman, there's a certain besides just being aware of your surroundings, like I said, a gin bottle versus a teacup of water, and then if I'm on a lake that's like a slough where it's 4 or 5 feet deep and really really gradual, I'm fishing a different way than I'm fishing something that's got strong deep cliffs and stuff like that. And then I heard that there's also some of the strip mines and quarries. If my druthers, I had money was no object, I could buy whatever I wanted to buy, I'd buy a quarry. Fishing a quarry is a good time.
It is fun.
Yes.
It is definitely fun.
Right.
We've had some great...
But I heard there's a mineral in the water from the stone or whatever like that that's supposed to help growth rate.
Yes.
In the fish. I don't know what it is, but that's what I'd heard.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what it is that
does it. But fish
yes. You get some of them limestone quarries, and like I said, the limestone just makes the water look. It looks like the Caribbean, that aqua blue color, and
that's a fun. So let's talk about the bass fishing and stuff like that. Springtime, what techniques do you like the best? What are you doing?
Springtime, like right about now. The water's a little bit cooler right now, so you want something that had, like, if you're throwing crankbaits. I like throwing crankbaits. Moving baits right now, you want something with like a tighter wobble. If you're throwing like a lipless crankbait, it gives you a really tight wobble on the bait, which mimics a bait fish in the cold. They're not swimming around. They're not super active, so they get a little tighter swim to them. So when the temperatures warm up, you're getting like wider bills on them. Gives you a more side-to-side motion, just like a bait fish. But right about now, which is what I've been throwing the last couple of weeks, is
a couple of pictures. You got some nice.
The
some
last
nice
week has
yesterday,
been has been great, and it's spots that anybody can go fish. The retention ponds in neighborhoods, the public access ponds, have been like there's a couple in Frankfurt. They're actually Park District ponds, and the Park District stocked them when they built the pond, and they maintained the pond.
Yeah, right.
And some of the bass, I actually the other day I caught an 8-pound 2-ounce bass, largemouth.
Yeah, that's a
that
huge
she was
fish.
coming up the feed, getting ready to spawn, and in Illinois. For a pond fish in Illinois, it's kind of unheard of to get an 8-pound fish. They don't really like to grow in Illinois.
Right. No, I mean, and that's a huge fish. I've seen some really big bass only because I'm chucking really big baits all the time. So when I do see a bass, and then musky fishing, we do a lot of trolling.
Okay.
So we'd be on a trolling pattern, and a bass would hit something we were trolling. I was in the boat in Southern Illinois. Now, Southern Illinois has got a little bit bigger, longer growth season, so they get a little bigger fish. But the guide caught an 11-pound freaking largemouth bass.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on a big, like 12-inch, huge bait.
Huh.
But I was like, he thought he had. So we're always trolling. We're always trolling through like Cisco's. You know what I mean? So like, all that kind of stuff. It's like similar to that little roach that's in the tank there. It's just a huge. They get to be sometimes 10, 11 inches long, and they're big like a whitefish.
Yeah.
And if you constantly troll that stuff, muskies that's what they're going to hunt that stuff. So so springtime. That for me, we used to do a trip to Canada in the spring, early spring, like just coming up. It'd be the last week of May, but it'd be a week after ice out up there.
Oh yeah,
so it was a fly-in. It was a silly trip because there was zero fishing pressure, and he's losing his mind there. But zero fishing pressure, you could just catch just tons and tons of fish. It was not a challenge at all. But everything that I did was slow roll. I was super slow roll.
Gotcha.
So I love like a Panther Martin's got that huge blade on it, and it just kind of boom boom for a round. You could throw that thing out there and just barely crank it back, and then the Northern are hitting it because it's slow.
Yep.
Because everything's cold.
Right.
So I mean that was pretty much our stuff. A lot of I'd use a spinner bait, but it was like a musky sized one, so it was huge spinner bait. And it would be I always tried to use stuff like that was no trebles, because the trebles are such a pain in the ass to get out of the fish. And that fish got a mouthful of teeth. And the teeth on a musky and a Northern are strange. The outside teeth are like daggers. Like I said, they're like a diamond when you look at it from above, and they're really sharp too. They'll put a pretty good cut on you. But the roof of their mouth is like Velcro. They've got like a hooked back like patch of teeth up there, and it's for if a fish gets in there, it ain't getting
not coming out.
Right. So I mean, you don't want to get that. You're not lipping those fish.
No.
Right?
Yeah, I've had my fair share of cuts from some Northern up north there. Yes, grabbing them the wrong way.
Yeah.
And like you said, attempting to get that treble hook out of their mouth is not fun.
Right. So we always try to do single hook or the single with the trailer on it.
Sort of
thing is fine too. Those are easy to get out. But and then as for bass fishing, what as summer progresses here, I mean, do you ever refrain when they're spawning, or do you just go after them then too?
If I'm fun fishing, I usually just leave them alone.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm going after anything. It's the pre-spawn. They're coming up. They're actually feeding. They're actually gorging on bait fish, trying to get ready for the spawn.
Right.
And then during the spawn, if I'm fun fishing, I usually lay off. I'll go after the males that are around the beds, or the deeper fish that are still pre-spawn.
Okay.
They don't all spawn at once, so you can get them in their stages. The ones that move up, we just go out a little bit deeper, and we'll fish the ones that are starting to come up.
Yeah.
And feeding, unless I'm in a tournament. It's kind of game on, where you're trying to catch the biggest fish you can find,
right?
And those are always the pre-spawn and trying to get them right before they spawn when they're at their biggest.
Huge, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
it's all in weight.
Yep.
So that now for musky fishing, there's musky tournaments, and like I was always a guy that we would go up to Canada, and there'd be 60 people at this camp at North Shore Lodge, and I went there 6 times, 6 for 5 years, 6 trips. And by the time I was up there, like the 3rd time, they were like, "Oh, Bill's the guy who's gonna musky fish the entire week." Some guys are up there for walleyes and stuff like that, and that's all fine. For me, walleye is about the most boring fishing that ever was. That thing's like a stick. It's the most terrible. They eat wonderfully, real nice. But I'll go up. I think it drives some people nuts because I'll go up. I'll spend $1,200 for an entire week in Canada, and if I boat 3 nice fish, it was a hugely successful week.
Yes,
it was a great time.
Yes.
And I generally, if I'm boating 3 fish, and that's generally where I was right around, would be 3 to, I think I had one year where I boated 5.
Oh, nice.
The you know, like, I'm ecstatic, and that's, for me, that's the whole week. I'm fine. Like, I'm totally good with that happening.
Yep.
Where other people, they want to catch 50 northern and a bunch of walleyes and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways, so when I went up to these trips, I'm the guy that, like, is catching muskies. Other people will devote like a day or two because they don't want to waste the whole trip on that.
Mm-hmm.
But then they won't catch anything. And then I also would do things like put, I'll drive the boat. I'll be in the back of the boat, driving the till drive boat, put the other guys in the front of the boat, and still outfish everybody in the boat. And because fishing is not, there's a certain element of luck that goes on. You get a dumbfound luck anytime.
Yes.
But it's a skill game. It's absolutely a skill game. I mean, we were up on a lake casting. We did it one time. When I was first getting hooked on muskies, there was a fly out from the main Eagle Lake area that we're at to this lake called Pincher Lake, and they would fly you in there, and the only thing in the lake is muskies and perch. That's it. That's all that's in there. So, like, we were there for an hour, and I saw 15 muskies, like, following baits. It's just, like, super competitive and everything else. During that day, one day, I caught 12 muskies. The guide, they were all probably between 26 and I think the biggest one I got was like 32. So nothing monstrous. Actually, those are fish. Like, if I catch a 30-inch muskie, I don't take a picture of it. That's too small.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, sometimes I won't even leave the water. I just get the bolt cutters, cut the hooks, and then it's on its way. And that's the other thing that, like, with muskies, I don't take the hooks out. I cut the hook, the metal of the hook, so that it just falls out of his mouth. I don't want to hurt him at all.
Right.
Because, like, 49-inch muskie takes 30 years to grow up north. It's a fucking old fish. So if you kill it, then it takes that long to replace it.
And that's it. Yep.
But, so I'm in the boat. I catch 12 muskies. The guy who is a Canadian who lives there, who's driving the boat, he got one, and my dad got none. So that was our day up there. And my dad was a little aggravated and stuff like that. And, like, halfway through the day, he's like, well, we were throwing, it was like I said, when we first started muskie fishing, and this lake, boy, if I was ever on that lake again, I would completely approach it differently. And I probably would catch 20 easy muskies on that. But we were throwing suics. So, like, I mean, we were literally throwing, like, the Flintstone of muskie baits out there. And I was working a suic back, and my dad's like, like, trying to help him, like, get there's a fin on the tail of a suic that makes it dive a little bit, and trying to get it, like, the same action as what I had going on, trying to explain to him what I'm doing. Finally, I was just like, here, took my bait off, gave it to him, took his bait, and then I caught the last 3 fish on the other, the one he was throwing all day. It's really what you're doing, and it's a certain amount, for muskie fishing, it's a mental focus game. Because if you're muskie fishing, chances are you're going to come in contact once or twice today with a fish. If you're not totally on your game at that moment, it's over. Your day's over, too. Where, smallies and bass, you'll definitely get more strikes and stuff like that. You do miss some fish, but not as much. But that's my separation between the guys who are fishermen and then the guys who aren't. If you're a fisherman and you go somewhere with 30 people, you mostly should outfish all those people. So, like, I'd be successful with that stuff. And the reason I don't tell people to muskie fish, I love it. It is, I mean, I have the tank because I miss them terribly. So, and they're like, it's my nursery. So, like, I get them, they're like 9 inches long, and they're like 2 pencils thick. They're tiny. I grow them to be a little bit bigger than this, and then I throw them in a lake. Because then they can survive. The bass can't eat them. But, so, like, it really makes me happy. I love those fish. But it ruined my life on bass fishing. It really did. It totally destroyed my life on bass fishing. I had... Like, used to go to Lake LaSalle, I'd catch a dozen nice smallies, have a wonderful day, sunburn the shit out of my face. It was a terrific time. And I went, when I was general contracting full time, I probably only had maybe 5 or 6 days, 6 windows where I could get out and muskie fish. And I went out 3 times, 10 hours each time, beating the shit out of water. I didn't see a muskie. And I was like, oh my God, I'm like, my whole summer's about over with fishing. I'm so pissed off that I can't believe I hate muskies. I can't stand them. They totally suck. So I put all the smallie gear in the boat, and I'm like, I'm going out for smallies. I'm going to go to LaSalle.
I'm catching some fish.
I'm going to catch some fish, right? I'll get stinky freaking hands from catching fish. And I jumped in the truck at 4:30 in the morning to get to LaSalle. I got to the end of the driveway, and I was like, all right, today could be the day. So I had to pull back up there, take the smallmouth gear on, put the muskie gear back in there. I did get a 42-inch fish that day, but that's how addictive that stupid fish is. So like, I don't advise it to anybody. But anyways, I want to talk more about bass fishing. I get on fishing and it goes right to muskies.
I hear you. I hear you there.
So what are you boat wise? What are you doing for that?
Boat wise, I actually don't. I don't have a boat. I fish as a co-angler, and which what you tournament.
Yeah,
and they'll pair you with a boater. You fish out of the back of their boat.
Really?
It does make it a little tougher. I mean, they get first dibs on first dibs on any water
you're better
and everything.
Than they are, then
it's happened. I mean, I've had days where I've been on a boat and the boater has caught 10, 15 fish and I don't get a bite. But then there's been days like last year up on St. Clair, we pull up to a spot and it's just that you said it's specific. It's the difference in the bait that you're throwing.
Yeah.
That I had every other cast, I would catch a smallmouth on topwater. The guy in the front of the boat started throwing topwater, not getting bites. It's just that certain style of bait, what they want that day during those conditions.
Right.
And I had my 5-fish limit in about a half hour, and then was able to work up from there.
Right. So when you do that, are you a team together or you're separate?
No, we're separate. Boaters fish against all the other boaters, and then the co-anglers fish against all the other co-anglers in the tournament. Yeah.
Okay, so it's 2 different divisions that they split up.
Pretty much,
wow,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's almost like 2 different tournaments going on at the same time,
okay.
Yeah.
I had my first boat when I was Jason Zednick's neighbor got divorced or something, and she got the boat in the divorce, and I think I was 17 or 18 years old, and she's like, you want to buy this boat? And I'm like, really? And she sold me for $200 or something like that. It was she goes, I got the boat in the divorce, and I'm telling them I'm selling it for $200, and it's yours. It was no great shakes, but it was I bought a boat, a trailer, and a 33.5 horsepower Evinrude motor. It was old as the hills, but it worked.
It worked. It's a boat.
I took the boat and I put marine plywood in it, put the seats in it, and all that stuff. And I mean, I used it till I blew the bearings out on it one time on a trip. But I used it for years. So I mean, I was always a guy with a boat. I mean, I bought a trolling motor, put it on there, and all that other stuff. So now, tournament wise, how is that So the tournaments that you've done, I've seen local tournaments at LaSalle and stuff like that, that they put a flyer out and you come back that weekend and then they have a tournament on.
Yes.
When you're a co-fisher, how does that, is there money? Is it a...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Last year, like I said, I started fishing the Michigan VFLs. That's the starter program in the FLW, and then you can move up to the Costa Series, which is kind of like their semi-pro division of the FLW. More money, more entry fees. They do a little more traveling.
What's the entry fee for?
Now, an entry fee for BFL is, I believe it went up this year to $150 for a co-angler.
Right.
But you get the chance. I mean, you can win. You win the tournament. You can win $5,000, and
sure.
And that you get up into the Costa Series, and there's 3 of those tournaments a year, and you can fish if you finish in the top 50, you can make the championship, the Costa Championship. But each tournament, as a co-angler, you pay $650 to get in the tournament.
Yeah.
And you have a chance at winning a $30,000 Ranger boat.
Jeez, wow.
If you win. And then it goes down from there. I think second place is like $10,000, something like that. So
sure.
there's money to be made.
Now, when you do that, like, you never go? Because I mean that system, I didn't even know that existed. I didn't. I mean, it really didn't. So when you do that, though, you never go with someone you know, or do you?
I've had it to where, like, I link up with a buddy of mine that actually lives in Nebraska. He fishes the Costa Series with me. We travel around. You end up linking with somebody, and that's just guarantee you that you're fishing the tournament, and then you have no idea who you're fishing with until the tournament meeting.
Wow.
And like last year at the Costas, I've been lucky. I've gotten paired with some great fishermen.
Okay.
We went and fished the Costa down at.
So this buddy of yours, though, he's a co-fisher too, then, right?
When you link with somebody, you're actually linking with a boater.
No, like the buddy from.
Oh,
Nebraska.
my travel. Yeah, he's a co-angler too.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So we travel around together. Last year he actually just sold his boat. Last year he fished as a boater.
As a boater. Okay.
Yep. And then just sold his boat, waiting on his new one. So he decided to go out and fish as a co-angler.
Oh yeah, no.
And just to get out. Yeah.
I think I probably would have tried that myself at certain times. I was always, like I said, I was always the guy with the boat, like from one boat to the next boat.
Mm-hmm.
But, we did our fair share of shore fishing as kids and all the other stuff too. The retention ponds, you obviously don't need anything.
No.
We used to go. Frankfurt Square had some really good little retention ponds to go into, and surprised to catch, like, me and Danny Shanahan went into one in a canoe. It was funny. We turned the thing over and everything else. Development, and I wish that was something that was available when we were kids.
Oh, yes.
But the bass fishing teams at the schools.
High school and college level bass fishing. The high school here in town, I do some seminars with them and just try and share knowledge. And like this year, I did a seminar with them talking crankbait fishing. Like line selection size, rod selection, reel,
right?
Everything, how to make them run deeper or shallower, what to use, what time of year, and just trying to help them out in any way I can.
Questions here for that came up online. I'd like to read those. And next episode. There we go.
But yeah, it's fun. In fact, the high school here, their motto on their shirts is, "I wish they had it when I was in school."
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I remember. When I was a kid, I was like absolutely nuts. I mean, I got on my bike. The rods went across the front of the bike, and the tackle box was hanging there too. And I rode the bike right, to the ponds in the Frankfurt Square, and I would fish those ponds from sun up in the morning until dinner time at night. My mom used to drive to the pond with my dinner on a plate, and I would sit I don't know, like something was wrong with me, but I would eat the food and then right back out to the
all right, I gotta go.
I was doing what I was doing, and obviously I wasn't getting in trouble. I was just doing that. But I think my dad at one point asked me, I was 12 or 13. When the dad asked the question, "What are you going to do when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "I want to be a professional fisherman." And he straight up looked at me and said, "That's not a job." And I'm like, "That's not a job? Really?"
What?
And he's like, I'm like, "Well, what about Jimmy Houston and all the TV shows that were on when I was a kid?" And he's like, "There's one of those guys for millions and millions of people. You can't do that for a living." And he talked me out of it. And then the first time I met a guy that was a pro fisherman, you do not need to be Jimmy Houston or one of those guys to be a professional fisherman.
No.
There's a guy that I met. He was pretty much my age. He's out of it now, I think. I'm connected with him on social media, but was a muskie guide that he was working his way through college. He went to Southern Illinois for school, and he was guiding otherwise, and he, after college, he went to college for fisher biology degree, but he was a professional muskie fisherman. That's what he did for Southern Illinois. The lake never free. It was like 285 days out of the year he was fishing for muskies. And I mean, the job's hard, and it's probably hard on your body, and I bet you it's 5 times as hard on your relationships.
Yeah. All the travel.
That and just your lifestyle is you're fishing every day, and then you're hanging out with people. They want to go out to dinner, get drinks.
Yeah.
It's probably not a conducive situation for a marriage. Because this guy, he was a terrific guy, just a really good guy, and an outstanding guide. But I think he definitely had a hard time with relationships. But I was already full out, own my own business, contracting and everything else. And I liked my life contracting, but I was like, I can't believe my dad screwed this up.
Yeah.
I
could be doing that right now.
That'd be totally fine by me.
Yeah.
But, kids nowadays, is that when they're on the bass team for the school, is that they're trying to be a professional fisherman?
I think you kind of get both. You get some that's their goal. That's what they want to do. They want to grow up. They want to be on the bass fishing team in college and move into the tournament fishing and into the pros. And then you'll get some that they want to learn the sport.
Right.
And
so I get Jenny on social media who asked, include info about the IHSA bass fishing and potential scholarship money for college. Is there money that so we get a bunch of people, I coach wrestling, and the percentage of people that are going to get money for wrestling, it's so small. You almost should tell parents just don't think about that. That'd be another byproduct of what you're doing. Concentrate on loving the sport and doing all the things you want to do with it, and if you're good enough, it'll just happen on its own. You don't need to, because parents get crazy.
Oh yeah,
especially when they hear money.
Yeah.
But so I was astounded that there's pretty good money in gaming now.
Absolutely
right.
Is. Absolutely.
So is there? Have you heard there's college? I didn't realize that there were colleges that had teams too.
I don't know the exact, but I'm telling you, there's just about every major college, and even the smaller division colleges all have bass teams.
Wow.
They had the high schools. It's gotten huge in Illinois now.
Right. Okay. But just Illinois or
all over the country. All over the country.
Because is there anywhere that there's no bass?
What's that?
Is there anywhere that there's no bass, state-wise? I mean, I can't think of a state
that I know of. No.
And I'm always surprised. When I grew up, I thought smallies are more of a northern kind of bass. But you go down to Tennessee, there's tons of smallies.
Oh yeah.
Really nice smallie fishing.
Yep. We do. We were catching smallmouth down on Kentucky Lake, and you get on them river systems, and them smallmouth are kind of key.
So a school. Do they? I mean, so I'm from the wrestling stuff where we see. Are there college scouts that go to high school tournaments and check guys out, or is there stats kind of thing?
I think they'd more do it kind of online, and they watch the college, basically college fishing scouts will watch the tournament results for the high schools and see where these kids are, how they're fishing, and how they're ranked. And they get offered scholarships to go to college, study, and while you're on the bass team.
Now, some of those guys, do they take classes that are biology classes, they're trying to learn more about fish?
Some of them, yeah, and then there's some that are going. You'll get guys going for engineering degrees and stuff like that.
That are get their own bass fishing,
and yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's their way in, and they get a scholarship bass fishing.
Now, is there anything that gives back? So if you're running all this, the NCAA is a terrible organization that robs high school or basketball players and football players and everything else. the fishing's a different thing because you're kind of going out there and like a little bit you're beating up the lakes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is there any money that's generated through the tournaments or through the high school tournaments that goes back to conservation?
I'd have, you know what? For the conservation part, I believe it's all through the IHSA. They put back into it. Each individual team, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I know when you buy your license, a lot of that money goes to conservation.
Yes.
And obviously, if you're a high school fisherman, bass fisherman, you got to have a fishing license.
Yeah, I think once what is it? I think 16. Once you're over 16, you got to get the license, and you're helping conservation that way. And there's a lot of times where some of the teams will demand, like they'll have their team help. They'll clean up around waterways and just to help and teach the conservation to the kids.
Right.
Money wise for the high school teams, I think they rely on sponsorships a lot from the different companies, and there's great companies out there that have absolutely no problem helping out a high school team with like discounts or free products. They'll give them products for like raffles to help raise money for the kids to go on these different tournaments and everything.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then I think it kind of just builds from there when you get up to the college level.
What's the competition in high school then? Do you compete against another school?
Yes.
So do you have home lakes and away lakes?
Pretty much. You'll like when they go to some of these tournaments, like if they'll have a high school tournament out on the Des Plaines River up here, but you'll be competing with high schools from all over the state.
Okay, all right.
So yeah.
But the Manteno High School doesn't use like the Sportsman's Club here for a home lake.
No. Like around here, I think they fish. I think they fish the Des Plaines River. I think they have a tournament out of Braidwood. Okay. And that's kind of the waters that they'll fish. You'll get like regional areas where they're like I think like Reed Custer and Piatone and Moments and all them fish against each other for different regional tournaments
That's interesting. And like I said, I wish it was something, the more things that are out there for guys, there's guys that are just not inclined to, play baseball or basketball or something like that. Yep. And fishing would be a great alternative as far as that goes. And, I mean, I've had a great time fishing with my kids. I wouldn't say I had the greatest time fishing with my dad. He was not that much fun to fish with as a kid. But I was like high strung. I was like, no rod man. I'm catching frogs and turtles and every other damn thing. It was a pain in the ass, for sure. But I mean, I think it's my dad's like only day off for like, 2 weeks or something like that. And I'm out there like with tangled up lines. He's ready to kill me. Okay, and I got Bill Heckler asking, and you chimed in on it, but and I want to chime in too. I was like, because it's awesome. He's like, why is it that when friends and family come to visit me here in Springfield, Missouri, that they have to go to Bass Pro Shop's Outdoor World main headquarters? I don't know if I've ever been to that place, but I'm guessing it's just a Bass Pro.
It is like we refer to it as the Mecca of bass fishing. Sure. It's the largest one they have.
Yeah, it's a Bass Pro Shop, though. It's a store.
Yeah, it's a store.
Huge aquarium in there.
And they just opened up the, what's it? Was it Wonders of the World? It's almost like a zoo. They've got huge aquariums for anywhere from saltwater fish, freshwater fish. It's like going to the zoo. They got the spot for the Antarctic. They got the penguins. And I believe it took Johnny Morris 10 years to build it, and he designed every aspect of it himself.
Wow.
Had him. If it wasn't right, tear it out.
Johnny
change
Morris
it.
is the owner
of Bass Pro.
Right.
Yes, right. And he controlled every aspect of it, and I finally got to go see it last year. When we fished Table Rock Lake. My parents came down to watch the weigh-ins for the tournament and everything, and so we took a trip over to the Bass Pro, and I'll tell you, if you got a day that you want to kill down there. I love going to
Bass Pro. I think everywhere we go, if there's a Bass Pro.
Yes. I've got my collection of the Bass Pro
I want to see
shirts
the aquarium and every
yes.
single one. See
Yep.
what they got in there. And then, like my boys just like to look at, like, if you just go into the camping area and look at all of the stuff. The only problem that I have as a guy who worries about the economy and stuff like that is I don't like that Bass Pro just bought Cabela's. I'm like, come on, you got to have some competition. Gander Mountain's gone. That went under, and now Bass Pro and Cabela's are one place. Like,
yes.
It's not like, pretty soon you're going to be like just jacking
you
the prices up.
Get them
it's not good.
I think the only thing that's keeping that under control is the online stores.
Yeah, the Amazon.
You get that. You get like Tackle Warehouse.
Right.
That you can find some great prices.
No,
that's kind of.
I would suggest if any. Like, so I was a guy that had a boat forever, and a guy turned me on to. I can't remember that. I got it like bookmarked, but it's a marine. It's all boating stuff. Like I looked. I have a Cabela's Visa card that gives me 5% off at Cabela's, and I still could get nowhere near the deal that I got on this website for my down imaging stuff. I was like, it was a $2,000 setup, but I mean, I think that it was $2,000 at Cabela's, and I got it for like $1,600 or $1,700. It was way cheaper online. You have to trust the place you're buying it from, but I would suggest you do that. But like those stores are wonderful. They're great to go into. My boys love to go if we go, into them. They like to go in there, and they don't have the fishing opportunities that I had growing up. Just because wrestling is so demanding. They're doing that all the time. Where I was like just constantly fishing, and then I'm the oldest grandchild of my family, and my grandfather loved to be up in northern Wisconsin area, so he took me all the time. So I got to be there. Constantly. So I think that's it for the questions that were online, and then the only other thing that I would like add or question would be, so with what do you do exactly? You said you help with the kids. Do you is there like seminar? Do they do instructional stuff for what?
Oh yeah. Before the season starts, I think they're going year round, getting their team selected, and once they have their team, they start practices before the season starts. They'll have casting practices, and they'll be bringing different guys in. Like usually once a week, they'll bring somebody in to do a seminar just to teach them like equipment maintenance and like me, I did last year I did topwater fishing, and then this year I did crankbait fishing. Guys will do finesse fishing, and just to try and give them a little idea, tips and tricks and any kind of information you can give them to help them out.
Yeah, good. It's a wholesome thing to go do and everything else, as long as you're being conscious of the animals that you're messing with.
Yes.
And stuff like that. And then, I mean, you don't eat any bass, right?
No.
I don't either. We did one time up in Canada. We were on Eagle Lake, and the guide was like, he was an Indian guy. He's like, I eat these all the time. And it was a really nice tasting white fish. We ate some smallies. But up there, it's like a totally different game. We were Lindy rigging. You had like a 18-inch leader with a snap swivel and an egg sinker, and then the hook with a minnow on it. And like we were catching 18 or 19 like football, like 4 to 5 pound smallmouth in a day, no problem. You could just go back there every day and do it off the reefs and stuff. So like I did an abundance of those fish, so it was fine. But I couldn't imagine doing it down here. Like it would, absolutely. Like I'd feel terrible taking those fish off.
And the different tournament trails, they're, especially in the last couple of years, they've really gotten into fish conservation. Like a lot of the trails will have no puncture cull tags, because when you're putting the fish in the live well, you put cull tags on them so you know how much each fish weighs.
Oh, dear.
There's like a different colored marker that'll say, okay, so
you
my red one
fish.
is, and they're like clip-on tags instead of the old metal piercing ones to keep harming the fish. They've actually come out with the Major League Fishing tournament trail that they have. It's all about fish conservation. They don't actually have a weigh-in where you're not putting anything in your live well. It's you're catching it, you're weighing it, and releasing it.
Wow. Okay.
And they'll do like a cumulative weight.
See, now musky fish in the tournaments there, if you catch a fish, there's like a flag boat. So you have to like call a boat in, and the judge comes to you, and because they don't ever live well those fish.
Right.
Too big anyway.
Yeah.
But they come and they like measure that fish. They weigh. They do whatever they do with the fish. I think it's a more of a measurement thing that goes on with the musky ones. But like, and then the guy in the boat writes down everything that you did, and then you release that fish and go back to fishing.
Yeah, and that's basically like the MLF style tournaments that they have. You actually have an official. You don't have a co-angler in your boat. They actually have an official in their boat.
This is for the high school.
No. This is when you're getting up into.
Okay.
It's more like the pro levels that you're
got
working.
An official in it?
Yeah.
Holy cow! Where's the dough come for? Just sponsors?
It's sponsor money. Money. In fact, this is their first year. It's actually the Bass Pro Tour that they do. Bass Pro is their main sponsor. Now, as a co-angler,
you're never looking for a sponsor, are you?
As co-anglers, yeah.
Now, how do you go about that?
The way I do it, it's usually equipment that I've used, baits that I've used and have confidence in. I mean, you'll get guys that are just out there looking for discounts and that. But
well, that pro musky fisherman guy, he was sponsored by Bass Pro, so like all his rods and stuff, all the reels, everything was Bass Pro stuff in there. I think their angle was this guy's deal was it was like $250 for the day. And you fished with him all day, and you did all you had to bring was your lunch. He supplied everything else, all the baits, all the leaders, all the rods, reels, everything. But the thing was, if he puts a Bass Pro rod in your hand and reel, and you use it, it's like, oh, this is pretty good. What is this? Then you'll maybe go buy one.
Right. Yep. So, and it's kind of the same thing. And I've had it where I'm catching them on a certain bait, and guys like, all right, hey, what are you throwing back there? What do you got tied on? And it's like, oh yeah, here I've got this BizBait soft plastic that I'm throwing.
So I see the BizBait hat. Now is that someone who's giving you any money or giving you a discount on stuff?
I get discount from them. In fact, it's Brian Souza. They're right from Arlington Heights.
Okay.
Illinois based. Grew up here. He actually started the company as a college business program to structure how they do a business plan.
Right.
His was a bait company that he actually turned into a bait company.
See now the Wisconsin and all the musky fishermen guys, these are all guys that live up in northern Wisconsin, northern Minnesota, and winter is 8 months out of the year, and it's hard. They're either ice fishing or they're in their garage tinkering with baits and stuff. But each one of these guys usually has their own.
Couldn't tell you how many hundreds of jig companies there are out there trying to make it and doing the same thing.
The jig company, I think the problem that these guys always ran into was that the most consistent, because you have to have a consistency in the bait, right? It has to have a certain action. And if it doesn't have that action,
I forgot that. Sorry about that.
That's all right. My phone. So, anyways, the bait, if it doesn't work a certain way, then the bait's no good. And I definitely bought baits that didn't quite work right, had to be tweaked. So the only people that are successful at producing baits is someone that has access to fiberglass moldings and stuff like that where you can make it as consistent as possible. Yes. So with the bass baits and stuff like that, my gosh, there's so many. That's a billions of dollar industry as far as
bass fishing is. I think yearly, just in the retail part of fishing, is a $35 billion industry. Right. Unreal, the amount of money.
So if you had some kid that was trying to get to college, he could be an engineer, and he could be engineering baits. He could be engineering ergonomic rods and reels to hold on to, all that kind of stuff too. So there's a million different avenues that a kid could go down as far as that goes.
The opportunities they have available to them nowadays it's unbelievable. And like you said, to be able to, man, if I had the chance to be able to be a pro angler, making. You get guys like Kevin Van Dam that's at millions of dollars.
Yeah, I think
millions for fishing.
I think that's who my glasses are. I got a set of Van Dams. So that's all great. Like I said, it's a terrific sport. It's fun. It's it's definitely it can be hard when you first start out and you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I had for bass stuff. I had my go-to, like the smalls. I got the Rapalas and stuff. And then I liked I had like a creature jig. It was like a weedless, jig with it had like tines on it so that the hook wasn't in there. And it was just like a lot of tentacles on it, and I'd just bop that thing off the bottom. What I mean, sort of a thing. Just depending on what thing I want to do. Topwater is some of the most fun fishing that there is because it's explosions.
Yeah. That I fished a tournament up at Lake Vermilion up in Minnesota a few years ago that I qualified for.
We were in Lake Vermilion not too long ago.
I love that place.
That's
up there.
beautiful.
It is
real nice
beautiful area. But yeah, the one muskie I've caught is I caught up there. I caught a 54-inch on a little popper.
54-inch.
First muskie I've ever.
That's
going for bass, and we
fish.
got it up to the boat. The guy measured it, and we unhooked. One of my brand new popper backs.
That's better than any muskie I've ever caught, and it's just luck.
It's
Right.
Yep.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a sport that just about anybody can do.
Actually, I got a guy coming on who we're going to talk muskie fishing. We're going to talk muskie fishing with his son. His son Sam is a guide on Vermilion.
Oh, okay.
And what he does is he goes up there, drops them off at the beginning of summer as soon as school's out, and then he comes back I think in the end of July or something like that and picks them up. Nice. I think now he might stay the whole summer, but when he first started, he's 15 years old when he first got that gig. His dad had been going to that lodge for 5 or 7 years or something like that. And then they just said, hey, if you want a summer job, come drive a boat in the summertime. And the kid, what a great gig.
Oh, man.
So terrific. But
be able to do what you love.
That's one. But that's a podcast I'm looking forward to talking to them and find out because he definitely has, you can get a different bass fisherman. I'm sure you could sit down with a bass fisherman that's got a totally different approach to it than you do.
Oh, yeah.
Because this guy's all about trolling. And I'll tell you what, I've done some trolling. But it's not my forte. I need someone to give me some patterns, stuff like that. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'll get out there and do it. I'll look for look on my down imaging for Cisco's for shad, all that stuff, so I can go through there and do that. And I mean, when you're up in Canada, the muskies are feeding on schools of whitefish, big 20-inch whitefish. I was muskie fishing Namakogan in northern Wisconsin. And had a 52-inch muskie on a 22-inch sucker.
Holy cow!
So the sucker was a
giant.
Right.
It's kind of cool, especially with the Costa series that I fish. It's you got some of the pros that are fishing it to try and make the championship. Mm-hmm. So last year down at Lake of the Ozarks, I got to fish with Andy Morgan, which is they call him the GOAT, the greatest of all time in FLW. He's an FLW tour guy. He's fishing the MLF now this year, and I got to be on the boat with him for the day and just watching him and watching the way he fishes. I mean, the guy's just a machine, machine. Right. And you're trying to catch a fish out of the back of somebody's boat like that is you got to get lucky on that one.
Yeah, but you're just there to. I mean, I think the first time I went out with that Chad guy, I spent a lot of time just really paying attention to exactly what he was doing.
Oh yeah.
And I want to know. I want to learn. I want to really learn what you're doing.
Yep.
And I mean, there's no one better to learn from than someone that's on the water for 280 some odd days out of the year. Mm-hmm. Everyone else has got, you're a plumber. Everyone's got a job to go do, and then you can just do it when you can get the window.
Yep.
These guys are doing it.
And that's constantly. It. You're on the water 6-7 days a week. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. But fishing, being on the back of his boat, I'd sit there and catch myself a half hour later just watching what he's doing, how he's fishing, different spots and different structure in that.
Now, your kids fish?
They used to. They used to. My older one.
How old is he? What he's
21.
Yeah, that's the time. I don't think I fished. Even I was a nut for fishing, but probably like from like 18 or 19 to like 21, 22.
It's
at like 23,
trucks
picked it back up again.
Yeah, trucks and girls.
Girls.
Yep.
Yes, right.
And so he kind of got out of it. My younger one, Bradley, he's 16. He used to go with me, and that kind of gotten out of it, and so it's me
Hopefully
now.
They pick it back up again.
Yep. And in fact, I was just talking to my older one. He's like, "Hey, you still got my fishing gear? I want to get
maybe
get my fishing gear." I'm like,
that's
good. That's awesome.
Yeah, good to hear. Well, we're an hour and 45 minutes on fishing, man. So let's wrap it up. I think I learned. I never knew anything about the co-fishing stuff and everything else. I learned a lot. If something goes on that is big with the sports and stuff, come back. Let's.
Absolutely.
Talk again.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like if a parent is out there and they want to kind of get their kid into that, even if it's for scholarship money or whatever like that. Show them all the bobber and the worm and catching bluegills and stuff.
That's it. Let them loose on these neighborhood ponds just to get a start, and even the kids coming up being able to talk to the high school kids that are actually on the team, maybe learning a little bit, hanging around and just getting an idea. And there's so many people out there that are looking to share knowledge and have no problem. No problem sharing knowledge with them and
there's
showing
so many
them.
bodies of water, and we're in Illinois. There's not even that many here. If you lived up in Wisconsin or Minnesota, it's like you can't turn around without seeing them.
Everywhere you look, there's water to be able to.
Yeah, and I'm surprised
fish.
that I got an uncle that's up in Minocqua. He's on like a 40-acre, like it's private lake. It's Lake Mulby is what it's called, and you would go up there and you would run. Like a rattle trap, but it's a Rapala's rattle trap. It's not a rattle trap. But you would run that thing literally as like you'd have a 5-to-1 ratio on there and run it as fast as you can, and they'd still hit it.
Yes.
So and I mean, this is a spot where there's all kinds of fishing pressure and stuff like that, but we used to catch 16 to 18 nice largemouth in a day. And it's a largemouth lake up in northern Wisconsin, which is a strange thing usually too.
Yes. Absolutely.
So I got so many memories of being on the water, and I'm always the first guy on the water, last guy off the water, sort of thing. So I'm sure that if it's any consolation to a parent, it kept me out of trouble at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Because I wasn't doing something stupid.
Yeah, you know where they're going to be. They get into fishing, they're going to be at the pond down the street having fun. Yes.
Well, I hope people learned something. I hope you dug the podcast. Check us out. We're on iTunes and Google Play. As far as the podcast goes, subscribe and like my channel on YouTube. And hopefully I got some more stuff coming along soon. Thanks, man.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, good.
Heck yeah. Always fun talking fishing.